Listen, I know you guys want the top 5 to 10 altcoins to buy right now. The bigger question is it the actual right time to buy into the market? Is this the potential near-term bottom? Well, I'll tell you what, there is a pattern setting up right now that is indicating the potential for some big moves forward if these certain scenarios play out. Let me explain.
If you're looking for the next 100x crypto project to buy into, you have come to the right place. My name is Cameron Fous, and I have been a professional day trader for nearly 20 years. I deposited $20,000 into an account, and in just over a year, it's now worth nearly $2 million. On this channel, I'm going to present to you the best altcoins to buy, such as getting into Mana before it ripped 595%, getting into Dogecoin before it ran 15,000%. So if you want to hear about all the best trade opportunities first, hit that subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on the notifications bell so you can get these time-sensitive trade ideas immediately when my new videos go live.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Again, this is not financial advice, just me running my mouth about things over and over again because I've been doing this a long time, almost 20 fucking years. I understand this stuff pretty freaking well. Let's take a look at the certain situation that could potentially play out that I'm looking at on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I'm also tracking the US stock market, looking at the NASDAQ 100 and US 30 because all these things work in conjunction together. When the US stock market moves, the NASDAQ 100 and US 30, this has a highly influential impact on what's happening within the crypto market, because if big economic news comes out or big earnings are missed across the board in stocks, then stocks eat shit. And that also bleeds fear into the crypto market as well. So everything is connected in a big neural network. Some fucking asshole commented on my short recently, the YouTube short that I just uploaded. He said, these YouTubers are all like weathermen. They're saying it could either go up or go down. Why don't you just give us a straight answer? Hey, listen, man. Nobody's fucking sidekick here. That's not how this game works. You simply identify certain opportunities and situations and look for the highest probability. But guess what? There's a 100% chance that you could be wrong. It's not 50-50 that it could go up or down. There's a 100% chance that you could be wrong. The possibility of wrong is 100%. It could go up, it could go down, okay? All we're trying to do is look for the potential setups. And those setups work simply because looking at a chart is simply looking at the neural network of everyone's money and everyone's emotions. When we look at this chart right here, every pattern that you see happening is a pattern that is set up, and then we can look for those similar patterns because then it gives us an idea of how the neural network of everyone's fucking emotions and money reacted under certain situations. And so after we look at that pattern and how people reacted under those circumstances, we can then look to the future and look at the current patterns that are playing out now and give us an idea of how the neural network and how the psychological emotions of this mob actually plays out, because that's all trading is a mob of psychosis, humans reacting and freaking out, buying and selling. That's what we're doing. That's what trading is. It's mainly just a psychological game. Brief interruption from today's sponsor, guys, none other than margex.com, your reliable way to trade Bitcoin with up to 100x leverage, designed by traders for traders. I've never seen 100x leverage before, so that definitely is a standout feature from MargeX. One of the cool things that I've seen here that they got here is the MP Shield system, which protects you from price manipulation, right? You see those big moves up and down in the markets. They have a system that can actually protect you from that by tracking liquidity from 12 different partners. This is a little quick calculator showing the potential profits that you could have by boosting your leverage up to 100x. And you can start trading in just under a minute. All you got to do is do a quick registration deposit, and you can immediately start trading, such as let's take a look at their platform over here, which you can then switch and pick between these various different markets that they have available to trade and easily select your cross margin from 5 all the way up to 100x. Again, leverage can be very dangerous. So unless you're a professional trader, do not use 100. Start small and work your way up as you learn how to trade. And it's very easy to either buy low and sell high or sell short and make money when the markets are dropping using their platform. You can also easily see the funding rate for going long and going short. There is no hidden fees. This is exactly what you pay when you're trading on margex.com. You can also go right into the wallet section, guys. And in fact, if you use the promo code Cameron15, they're going to give you a deposit bonus of 15% of your total deposit when you deposit with them using the promo code Cameron15. Click and confirm. That's going to give you a 15% deposit bonus of the total that you actually deposited on the platform. It's going to be a link in the description below. Thanks for today's sponsor, margex.com. The current situation, current setup that we have here on Ethereum is what we call a potential revival pattern breakout. Let's just move this box out of the way. We'll move this bear flag out of the way. And essentially what we're looking at here is an ascending triangle, okay, of which we talked about in the last video. And I was expecting a potential pullback to the downside. And typically when you're looking at a revival pattern or an ascending triangle breakout, you usually get about 2 tests before the 3rd or 4th test is the actual breakout that we actually play out, right? We have the first initial lead-in trend bottoming out here. This is the first test, second test, higher lows coming in. We're looking for a 3rd higher low here. And now we have 1, 2, and now we're looking for the potential 3rd test of this ascending neckline here on the triangle to potentially break out somewhere, you know, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, break out here. And if that does happen, we actually sustain prices up above that. The next actual real resistance point for us is about 1700s, mid 1700s, which is technically from the current price, 49% to the upside. So this is a scenario that could potentially play out. So we have a probability here that with this pattern, if it does actually hold this higher low here and break out, that is a scenario. But if it starts breaking down below this area, which is also a bear flag, if we look at this, breaking down below this point in a sustained close below that marker, that could potentially mean that we're going lower. Okay, so these are just kind of the scenarios that you have to look at when you're actually monitoring the market and understanding that both scenarios could play out. You just have to manage the risk about, okay, how much do I want to risk for this potentially happening? And do I even want to play this trade or not? So currently, as you can see here, my Ethereum position, I've already locked in about 25% gains on these plays so far. And I'm actually now at a loss on Mana, and my Solana just turned into a losing positions. And, you know, potentially I'd take a loss on these positions. We don't really know yet until this pattern actually plays out. We're coming into this ascending support level where I'm hoping to see a higher low formed. And then we have the neckline breakout here, right? So we could still potentially drop lower down into this range, more towards 1,000 on this position, and then an upside breakout. So that's the kind of the play that we're looking for. We're looking for an upside sustained breakout to these levels up here, or we might break out to the upside. I'm probably going to lock in some gains initially on this breakout just in case this turns into another false breakout and a bull trap, and then we break down the flag, and then we just break down to new lows. Because listen, I do think we're going to new lows across the board. Again, also this is Bybit, just FYI. This is my go-to broker. There's gonna be a link below to sign up with them to trade futures. Best futures trading platform out there in the game. But that's what I'm looking for here across the board. And I also have positions in some other altcoins, such as looking for this channel breakout to the upside, but my stops are getting close on audio. I'm also in some Solana, getting close to my ascending trend here, but my stops are down here. I'm also in Mana at the moment, retesting the ascending trend right around here, hoping for the upside breakout to about 133. Also, currently I have a position in ADA, testing the ascending trend support, looking for the retest of the levels around 64 cents to the upside. Also wild. I also really like this chart. I've traded this thing many times. I traded this previous rip multiple times and got a huge piece of this massive move to the upside. We are now down like 90 something percent overall, and now have a beautiful revival pattern breakout coming into play pre-breakout. But we need to hold these ascending trend levels and then hopefully bounce off this level, hit a new higher low, bounce off the support, and then the target levels are up here about 34, 42, and 50 cents based on the next levels of support. Okay, so those are the current positions that I'm in. And then basically the other ones that are probably going to rip along with it are obviously Matic. We got short here on Matic, had a beautiful trade to the downside, is now retesting the upside of this trend. I also do love Sand, but as of right now, Sand is already breaking the ascending support. So we could continue to go lower, and then it'll probably create some sort of new higher low, and then we'll have a new trend line to draw. But overall, Sand is probably, you know, the top metaverse play out there. That's probably the most well-known. And if it breaks out of this channel to the upside, which is currently at about $1.20, and actually sustains that, that's a big upside move and not really any major resistance, guys, up until 2 to 250 on Sand. So there's a lot of upside potential on a lot of these patterns, but it specifically depends mostly on what happens with the US stock market. Because right now, what I'm looking at on the NASDAQ 100 is a break of the trend and a potential upside move of about 8 to about 12% on the US stock market. If we're looking at the NASDAQ 100, we have officially flipped the Trendex indicator. We have officially flipped this level right here. We have 3 days of sustained holding above that level right now, obviously getting a little pullback off this previous high here. But if we do get a sustained new trend right here, we could definitely run up, 8 to 12%. And if that happens, we're going to see a lot of bullish momentum across the board in the US stock market, which is then going to bleed into crypto, which will then continually help this pattern play out for us that we're looking at here on Ethereum. But that's just one scenario. This is the scenario that needs to happen in order for any of these altcoins to find support and continually run up to the upside. But there's definitely the high probability also of potentially this not working out. What if some new news comes out and all of a sudden the entire stock market collapses and everything eats shit? Also a probability. This is why we use stops and manage the risk along every trade. As a short-term trader, you don't just keep buying lower, you stop out and then reevaluate when a new pattern forms up, because this is still a pattern that's pre-breakout. It could go either way. It could either bounce off support and then break out here to the upside, or it could just break down this flag. This is an unknown pattern right here. But for me, I try to anticipate the pattern before it breaks out, because as a wolf trader, I like to get in somewhere in this range here, as opposed to everyone who starts chasing it because they hesitate and then they're getting it up here, right? But I had already previously bought down here, took some profits right here, and now I'm waiting to see a higher low formed up right around here on Ethereum and potentially start locking in profits the whole way up. Instead of buying the whole way up, which most people are going to do, I'm either going to buy down in this range right here and then lock in profits the whole way up, or I stop out right around here. If this breaks down to the downside, somewhere in this range will be my stop levels. I'll stop out, take a loss, walk away, reevaluate the situation in the next 1 to 2 weeks as a new pattern forms up, and then look for new opportunities, whether that be short or long. Okay, so I'm not just continually buying the dip if things go against me. I'm always managing the risk and taking the smallest loss as possible. That's the current situation on NASDAQ, guys. I do like the current setup right here. It's a little bit more bullish to me, but there's also the US 30, which is a little bit more bearish compared to the NASDAQ, right? And this is what I've been shorting a lot, right? I made about $80,000 shorting this breakdown here and riding this wave to the downside. So when we're looking at the actual Dow Jones US 30 here, a little bit different scenario, right? We're in this channel right now, retesting the upper resistance levels of this channel as of right now. So this is still not in a bullish situation. Right now, it's actually bearish because it's at this resistance line, right? We haven't broken out of resistance. This is an area of potentially short. If it breaks down here, retests, which would be good, that would be the higher low, and then potentially break out here and then push to the upside, which would that would be in line with the NASDAQ running up here. But there's also the scenario of what if this channel breaks down to the downside, which is this is a bear flag forming up, right? And if this bear flag pushes to the downside, that's going to be an indication of us going lower on the US 30, of which my longer term 3 to 6 month outlook is us coming down here, right? My longer term outlook on Ethereum is us coming down here to new lows. What I'm thinking here is if we look at the weekly chart and the trend X indicator, especially like on Bitcoin, what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin is nothing more than a short squeeze technical bounce. We have the major resistance down here about 30K, major resistance around here 30K. That would indicate giving us a rally about 50%, which would then come into the trend X indicator on the weekly chart, which I'm now following and tracking basically to continually track the bear market. If we come back up into the high 20s to 30K, that would basically be retesting this zone of the trend X indicator here. And then I'm thinking we come back down all the way down to 9 to 12K, of which I've talked about previously before. So me trading long right now is not an indication of me being bullish. It's just simply looking at that we're at a psychological level of support about 17 to 20K, high volume signatures. Also the Ethereum chart coming in at a daily chart revival pattern, all potential indications of a squeeze to the upside. This doesn't mean I'm bullish. I'm simply just trading the charts and looking for a technical squeeze. There's a lot of people short right now who are going to have to cover and liquidate their positions to the upside, and people will buy this breakout potentially if we move to the upside. So that's current situation. If that plays out, I'm long at the moment. If it breaks down below these levels, I'll stop out, reevaluate, move on, live in to see another day because I don't lose all my money because I'm managing the risk. Anyways, that's a wrap for today's video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.